All right, welcome to the first episode of Chief Concerns, the very first true Kansas City Chiefs debate-style show with former Chiefs players debating the current team, and who better to talk about this team than our two hosts, former tight end Jason Dunn, who spent 8 years with the franchise, and former cornerback Eric Warfield, who also spent 8 years with the team. And I'm your co-host, Marcus Dash, here to moderate and make sure these guys take it easy on each other. Gentlemen, are you guys ready to be going at each other like as if it was another dig for meal practice?
Let's kick it off.
Let's go.
Now, I got a question. Did you guys ever come across each other's paths in practice? Like, Eric, I know you weren't afraid of anything, but I'm sure in practice, Jason coming around for a block. Did you guys ever have any moments of coming at each other?
You know, there's never an instance to where I would be lined up over Jason by playing cornerback. Like I would never have to cover him, would never have to block him. So yeah, that never came across my path, and I'm glad it didn't. That's a big boy.
All right, so we got a lot to get into today. First, the format of the show, we're going to go recaps, and then we're going to go previews of the following week. But first, we're going to get into Chiefs concern number one, which was the 43-16 rout in Denver, a team-oriented win with special teams and defensive touchdowns. Jason, were you surprised by how easy of a win that was for the Chiefs?
You know what? I actually somewhat was, and the reason is because anytime you have a divisional opponent, it's always going to be a hard game. Regardless of what a team that's playing, it doesn't matter if they're a bad team, they're losing. Everybody in your division, you always get ready to play for. I mean, it's just because you know the guys real well, and it's hard to fool guys. Especially if you've been played them twice a year, you're gonna see them every year. So it's always like, look, it's that guy that almost like in the schoolyard that you've been fighting, since like grade school, right? And so I was a little shocked that they came out with that victory to what it was. But I mean, I think they did a tremendous job, like you said, just defensively, man, and special teams. I mean, it was glaring, absolutely glaring on that part.
Eric?
I wouldn't necessarily say I was shocked, just because of the injuries Denver has, and by how good our team is. And that's just not trying to sound arrogant, but I think we're probably the best team in the NFL. We're still defending champs, so until somebody knocks us off, I mean, outside of what the Raiders did, that's just a in-season game. But currently, we're still the Super Bowl champs. So and playing like it. I know that against that Raiders team, we didn't look so good. What else? What other team we had that we didn't play so hot? The Chargers. That's coming in with the new quarterback who we had no clue what he was going to do, what he was made of, or what he was capable of. And they did a really good job against us. So, but we go out against the Baltimore team and we blow the brakes off of them and come out here and do the same thing against the Broncos. But we've kind of had their number lately, and them missing a Von Miller, who's an important key to their defense, for a person like Mahomes to be out there. I felt like we would cover the spread of whatever that was, and I'm not even a spreads type of guy because I don't bet, I don't gamble. I know it plays a part into a lot of what other people how they enjoy their sports, and I do think that some of the players think about that, and they probably see that at times. And I don't know how much it plays into how they play because it wasn't a big deal when I played. I don't know if Jason ever noticed that, but I never did. So, but just that Broncos game, I knew we win, but just not the way we won. I thought that Mahomes would have great numbers, and he wasn't really needed. Our offense really wasn't needed. It was a good time to give Bell and some looks, just coming in for after a week of being on the team. So I was excited about it, and not shocked here at all.
Yeah, it was a nice team win with Sorensen's touchdown and Pringle coming on as the return man. But this kind of leads into our next question, which is Chief concern number two. In the last 2 weeks, Mahomes has not eclipsed 225 yards passing and has not attempted more than 26 passes. And more concerning was going 0 for 8 on third downs. I think that's the big key, going 0 for 8 on third downs. Are you all concerned at how stagnant the offense has been over the last 2 weeks, Jason?
You know what? you know what, evaluating the game, and we'll go the 2 weeks, but just, kind of looking at this one, this last game, some of my concerns was really on the offensive line. And I think what they actually did learn was watching what the Raiders did against Kansas City. And when you see, here you got the Raiders, who has been mediocre somewhat, doesn't really have a great defense, but they knew what to do against Patrick Mahomes. I could see how the offensive line was just making minimal mistakes as far as the pass protection, who are block. So that's part of the concern is offensive line. Also, we just said, like, some of the injuries. We got Sammy Watkins is out, and also too, man. When you have also too, I was looking at Patrick Mahomes, and it's hard, especially like doing that surface, that little like slush that you're trying to get a footing in. When you're retreating as an offensive lineman, it's really difficult, right? I mean, you still got my man, that's the outside linebacker. What's his name? Chubb.
Bradley Chubb.
Is that his name? So he was creating pressure, and our guys, you get to see the offensive line just making bad decisions. Pat wasn't getting the ball out of his hands fast enough. I think the tight ends. I mean, Travis Kelce had 3 catches for like 35 yards. So I mean, it's a little concerning on that point, because it's like, okay, if we know these things are coming up, and I'm glad that they're coming up now, right? Because teams are going to start coming after you. Like Eric said, I mean, you look, we're the defending champs. So we know everybody's going to be swinging for the fences every time they play against Kansas City. And so the more that you do to try to disrupt what Patrick does, the better off you're going to be. So everybody's going to try it. It's like, look, we don't win this when at least you're giving everybody a blueprint about what to do the very next game. So that's part of the concern. But I know, like I said, Sammy Watkins is out. LeVeon Bell's going to get some more, totes, of course. But the offensive line has to do a much better job. Absolutely, no doubt.
Eric?
Right now, I don't have any concerns. And so the thing that I noticed is the Raiders came out with the same game plan that the Patriots had. And Bill Belichick's, he's one of those that he's going to always create some sort of mastermind defense to try to limit you to your success on offense and try to make you mediocre. And so he had just had his entire defense drop back, and I think he only went with a 3 or 4 man rush to try to create pressure and not let Patrick get too much out of the pocket to create those big plays that we usually have. And so the Raiders came with the same game plan. They just rushed forward the entire game and dropped many back in cover. So we weren't able to hit those deep passes that we're known for. But after that, I think we have good enough of an offensive staff to where they recognize that, notice it, to where we pick it up and move forward throughout the season. And with Pat being such a good playmaker and having so many playmakers out there, I don't have any concern for our offense. I think that we're able to put up points when we need it. Now, also, we did lack some luster in that the Raiders game. That caused us to lose it, but it didn't cause any concern for me to what we're headed with this season. I still think we're the best team out there throughout all of the 32 teams out there. I know there's still a few teams that are undefeated, but I just think that we're still the best team, offensive, defensively, as a whole, out in the NFL right now.
Do you think I guess the kind of the third down portion of it? Yeah, it was a kind of the elements played a role in it. But do you think, I guess the last 2 weeks, you think it kind of makes us appreciate Sammy Watkins' role more with the team? It
does, but you having a player like Travis Kelce, who's damn near unstoppable, Tyreek Hill, who's going to open the defense up with his explosiveness and speed. It makes it a lot easier when you have a guy like Sammy Watkins who knows the offense inside and out. And who knows at times how to move when your quarterback is on the move and outside of the pocket. So having those other guys come in, you would think that they would see and have some of those reps at practice to where they notice when to make certain moves, how to break off routes and how to get open when you think your quarterback's on the move or when certain defenses are set a certain way. But maybe they haven't had the amount of reps that Sammy's had. And so having a guy like him out, it does hurt. But I still think that we got so many weapons offensively to where I'm not concerned about where this team is at this early in the season. I still think that we're going to pick it up at the end of the season. More is to come from this offense. We're going to, catch on real quickly. to limit some of the big plays on defense, and we'll be right back in the Super Bowl this year. Because to me, I don't think there's a team out there that we can't beat. You know, considering what's going on this weekend with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, if Baltimore proves themselves to go out and beat Pittsburgh goes out to beat Baltimore, then yeah, we're gonna have a dogfight come to that AFC Championship with Pittsburgh, and they have a great coach in Tomlin. Take nothing from him. He's one of those masterminds like Belichick, who's had a really good career, and having been back it just made that team that much more better. So I think my pick this week is going to be Baltimore. I think Baltimore is going to pull it out this week, and then you're going to have us three as far as the AFC is concerned battling out for the AFC West or for AFC Championship.
Well, I'll tell you what, and he is absolutely right. And I'm gonna just kind of talk about like the overall scheme as far as like offensive, defensively, right? So, and Eric could tell you. So with us on third down, I think what people don't really they look at third down and if you're getting the first down, but you got to look at the second down plays. What do you caught on second down? And I seen sometimes they was put in a predicament. It was long, like 2nd and 13, or it was 3rd and 10. You never want to be in a long distance third down. I mean, your percentages go down. It's only defensively, that's what they want to do. So offensively, it works for us. If we're like 3rd and short, 3rd and 5, to us, we should be able to get it. Matter of fact, it pulls up the percentages to try to even go for it on 4th down. So anytime a defense can get you in a long, 3rd down or 2nd down, they hold you to something, then that puts your offense in a bigger predicament to do things. So I know, he, like I said, knows that, defensively, you never want to get in that situation as an offense.
Nope.
Yeah. So that was like some of the concerns, because it's like, all right, what do we call it? What are you doing on 2nd down to get you to 3rd down and long? And that is tough. And especially if you have like I would say, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So smaller back.
I can't pronounce his name either.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They were using CEH, and I was like, how can you make it sound cool? So Hilaire, my man Hilaire, right?
Yeah.
CEH, man, he's smaller back. He's gonna get out in the passing game. So then all of a sudden you start getting the 3rd down, like Eric said, like Belichick. Well, look, we're just gonna drop the guys back, right? In zones. These little guys got to try to find the zone. Patrick gonna have to, thread the needle to get the ball in there to try to get the first down. So it's tough. It's tough.
And but we're a chunks offense, though. I'm sorry about that, Mark. We get plays in chunks, Jay.
Yeah.
This offense that we got right now, they don't like 5 and 6 yards. They don't. If we get, I think the complaint that came from us, I won't say us, but with the Chiefs, is on our first down plays, we would try to give Clyde the ball and see if he can pick up a few yards on the run in the run game, and it was like we weren't getting anything, and so that was the concern after we lost that Raiders game. It was like, well, we don't have a rushing attack, and everybody, you can read it all throughout Twitter, but we don't have a running attack. Offensive line is doing this, and then they're hurt. We're getting too much pressure on Patrick. So what's going on with the offense? And all of a sudden, Bell becomes available. Okay, we may have solved that problem. I just don't think it was that much of an issue at all. Like, I don't care who you are, undefeated team, defending champs, struggling team, you're going to have a game to where you struggle. But that doesn't mean that your team's falling apart because you struggled that game. And that's kind of why I thought that everybody was kind of jumping ship and was like causing concerns for everybody else. It's like, oh, man, we don't have a running game. We got this young rookie at LSU, and he's really not what we thought he was going to be. But when the first few games is out, like, he was like the best thing that we could have had on offense. Like, nobody complained then. Right. And all of a sudden he has like one bad game to where he's not rushing, on his first attempts for 3 or 4 yards a game to give us that short yardage to completion. But still, like I said, didn't really hurt our offense because that's not how they play. They eat up chunks. We take chunks with either Kelsey or Tyreek Hill down the middle, or even our inside guys down the seam. So we're a chunks offense, but for us to just go for quick slants, we don't do that. We don't do quick outs or zero routes. We want to hit you for something big, and we're going to, open this defense wide open. And we haven't been able to do that because if they're dropping everybody back and you got those deep safeties, you can't take risks with those chunks.
Yeah. You know, what I seen in this last game, I was watching, man, that outside linebacker. I mean, they didn't really have an answer to him. So when Chubb would come in, I mean, Patrick would be like, because he wants to hold the ball, right? He wants a little bit more time when he can set his feet. But if you don't have that, and I'm on you, you know, and I seen that. That's a good point, E, because he didn't look for like a quick pass. He didn't look for it. It was one that was just wide open in the middle, and he didn't even look for him. Matter of fact, Hilaire had came out on a flare route where Chubbs came. That's immediately like a hot read, right? Quarterback. It's a hot read. Let it go. And he for whatever reason, he just pumped and he kept it. I was just like, what is he doing? What's he thinking about?
Yeah.
So, man, it might be part of it though, right? Because you said we are chunks. He's looking for chunks.
Yeah. We don't look for short plays.
And there was one play I noticed too. It was one of LeVeon's snaps where it was a passing play when he was in there. He was doing a little swing pass, and Mahomes looked to him, but he didn't get his head around fast enough, so Mahomes had to take it. I guess that's more of timing with the quarterback.
Yeah,
that's all. It's that's getting to know your quarterback a little bit. But on the whole LeVeon Bell situation, actually, so that was one thing, and this is Chiefs concern number 3. That was this weekend was his highly anticipated debut. He only had 2 less carries than Clyde, which I think. I mean, we know not many people were talking about that. I mean, obviously the game script was a little different. You know, we were dominating, but Hilaire had 8 carries and LeVeon only had 6 carries, which is only 2 less, and that was with 1 week with a team. What do you think that says about him? I guess adapting to the playbook already, and what do you think that says about the team kind of trusting him already to give him only 2 less carries than Clyde in his first game?
I just think they gave him enough plays to where in practice to let him get fit in, to get him fitted in. There's no way he's going to learn that whole entire playbook in that short of time. So it's more so, hey, we're going to draw up a few plays when LeVeon comes in. You know, he's got this much of the playbook, so we're going to give him this much to play with. But we want to get him fit into this offense quickly. He's a proven running back. He's an all-pro guy. Just wasn't the fit for the Jets. I think he fits in well with what we do because he's great and down the field catching the ball, and he's a great running back, just driving, taking it up through the middle. But I'm on my guy Clyde. Like, I think he's a great running back. I think he's a great potential for us. He fits what we want. And so far, take away that Raiders game, we still have a pretty potent offense that's just slowly coming together, but still kicking butt.
Jason,
I'll tell you what, you could see Clyde Hilaire. That joker started toting the rock a little bit harder these last.
Oh yeah.
Hey, at any time
when your job is on the line, you do that.
Hey, when you know somebody was bringing somebody in for your job, right? You start lacing your shoes up. He done buckled the 10 strap up twice, so he had a little bit extra gas and steam between his running this last 2 years. So, I know he was just like, wait a minute, hold on. This is LeVeon Bell. I'm not going to let this joker come in and just start eating like that, right? Because you start eating into his food. But Le'Veon, and I'll say this, without a doubt, one of the most talented running backs to ever play the game. His style is one that's just so unique, the things he can do physically. I think that it was a bad choice for him to go to the Jets, right? He kind of fell in the way. He's like, all right, they don't want me. You think your girl still wants you. She don't really want you. She don't call you back like she should, right? So you end up going somewhere else down the road, and you really didn't want to be there, but you end up finding just there, right? and so finally, you have it out of the relationship, right? You end up walking out the door, and you find a new team that you need to go somewhere else. Like, okay, this is a better fit for me. And I think with Bieniemy, and I think this no other place would have a better shot for LeVeon to be than have somebody like Bieniemy at the helm. Really, I mean, a running back that's been there, that knows what to do, knows how to get in his head, how to get the best out of him. And so like Eric said, you give him just enough where he can, get a couple carries here and there. Look, I just want you to learn these 10 plays, these 10 you're going to be in, and that's it, right? Do what you will with the 10. And so it's going to be really exciting. And I tell you what, man, I was jumping up and down when he got in. I'm like, uh-oh, here he
Yeah,
goes.
buddy.
Let's see what he's going to do. So,
do you think we're going to, I guess last year when Kareem Hunt joined the Browns, he finally, after his 8-game suspension, there was a lot of times where we saw Kareem Hunt and Chubb in at the same time. Do you think we're going to see a lot of CEH and Bell in at the same time in 2-back sets?
I don't know if it is possible. I don't know if that's the way that's within our offensive scheme. That's something Jason knows. Like I don't know how you scheme 2 running backs in when you have such unique receivers out there. When you got a Tyreek Hill, Pringle, and Sammy Watkins, and McCole Hardman. So how do you throw 2 running backs in with a scheme like that? I don't know.
When you have a scheme, when you put 2 running backs, and I think really what you're trying to do is you force the defense like, okay, are they going to run? They're going to pass? So we know Hilaire can get out and catch the ball. LeVeon can do the same. Then all of a sudden what you do, you bring them back in. And the Chiefs do so much of movement. There's so much motion that that's what you want. So now all of a sudden you take it out of Tyreek Hill's hand, maybe on that speed option or that little quick little jet sweep. Now all of a sudden you got LeVeon coming across, give it to him, or Hilaire doing it, and now you just have Tyreek getting down the field, stretching the defense, taking the top off the defense, and so when you have that many weapons, then yeah, man, I mean you got to have them out on the field, because why would you sit there and have a Porsche sitting in your garage when you could be out there driving it, right? I mean, I want to drive the fast car, Get me out there on the road. So,
I mean, you probably won't drive that Porsche. You got a Ferrari sitting next to it, though.
Drive them both, right?
There was a lot of times in Pittsburgh where he was playing in the slot. Like they would put him out with the receivers. They motion him out to an empty set, and that's one thing. And both CEH and Bell are both good receiving backs. So I mean, it is something that you definitely have them both in at the same time. It's it's another toy. It's another thing to scare the defenses with our chunk offense. What do you think?
So that'd be the main concern with a player like LeVeon, because when you bring him into an offense like this, your defense, well, not your defense, but the defense is going to be too keen in on him because they think we want to get him the ball. He's only been there for a short time, so we think he wants to get the ball. So obviously he comes in as a distraction, and now you got Kelsey or somebody else running straight down for a touchdown, and we kick it off wide open. So he can be a main focus of concern because he thinks that the defense thinks that we're going to go to him at all points, just to get him acquainted. But he can also be like just that big distraction, or he can just be that power running back and receiver that he's proven himself to be.
Yeah, and he had 2 16-yard runs, which I saw that was his longest run he's had in like 2 years. So that's it's nice to have a guy like that in our team, especially I'm sure he's loving the fact that he's got all these guys. It's not a stacked box like it was in New York. So
oh yeah.
Okay, moving on to Chief concern number 4. We're going to go into the preview portion of it, previewing this weekend against Le'Veon's former team. So the New York Jets are coming to town this weekend, and the opening Vegas line had the Chiefs at a 21.5-point favorite. Now I believe it's down to 19 points. And Eric, you kind of mentioned this earlier, but as players, do you all take notice of the betting lines? Because being a 3-touchdown underdog, it's got to be somewhat embarrassing. It's got to be more bulletin board material. Now, do you guys ever remember a time where you saw a line of your game like, oh man, Vegas thinks we're gonna lose by 10? I mean, was that ever a point where you guys thought about this stuff, or no? When you guys were playing?
Not me, because I never paid attention to the lines. I just looked at where we were ranked and who we had in front of us and how we had to play. I don't think in my position meetings, Peter ever brought that up. Like, hey, they got us, here to lose by 10 or 3 points for this game, so we got to step it up. Like that was never concerned. It was always, it didn't matter who you were playing. Your mission was to go out there and win at all costs.
Jason?
Well, my bookie would call me every Tuesday. No, I'm just playing. No, man, I had to be honest with you. I have never ever looked at the line when I was never. To be honest with you, never heard that. Now we used to sometimes when I know John Gruden was my offensive coordinator when I was in Philadelphia. He would say a few things like, they got us up for 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns. What are y'all guys going to say about that? So that was really the only thing that you might hear, and I would hear from him. But other than that, I never looked at the line. I just didn't know. Had no idea, really.
Yeah, neither.
Well, going into games, you guys see, I mean, obviously forget about the point spread of the game, but when you guys were going to, let's say you were 1-4 and you were going against a team that was 5-0 at that point, you guys obviously come in with that underdog mentality going into the game, knowing that no one's picking us to win this week, but we're going to come in and kick ass. I mean, was that kind of forgetting about the point portion of it, but did you guys know if you guys were the underdogs going into games?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of know that depending on who you're playing, like that you're the underdog. But again, it's like it doesn't matter who you're playing. If they're undefeated or haven't won a game, it's still your mission to go out there and either put a L in that loss column if you can. So and add one to yours, so to your win column. So I never paid attention. I don't think my side or the DBs ever paid attention or heard about the line and what we're favored or unfavored by. But Jason was a part of our high-powered offense, and they were putting up about 80 points a game, like Golden State. So they might have been.
Is that true, Jason? No.
That is absolutely true. Absolutely. Hey, look, Al Saunders was offensive coordinator. He did not play every week. Al would say, "Man, we're gonna run up the scoreboard on these guys," I can remember at least 3 games for a fact. I remember Atlanta defense when they had Michael Vick, and they were undefeated. I think when they came to Arrowhead. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, but see, you can't say we just intentionally ran up the score on that because that wasn't throwing the ball. We had 6, I think it was 6 rushing touch. That's rushing. You're rushing the ball. You ain't trying to run the score up.
Right. Well, okay. Well, so we knew that they were ranked, right? We knew how they were ranked defensively. We talk about like all the things that the defense has arrived, and they got a compliment to Michael Vick. Now we just thought about, man, it's just toting the rock. I think we had everybody. We had guys. I think Shropshire, who was our ball boy, came in too. We had everybody score against that defense. We had like 500 yards rushing. I mean, it was crazy. But you go into the game knowing you're underdogs or how good the defense is, how good the offense is, and that just inspires you to do more, right? It does. I mean, that's why we play the game, because we want to compete against the best. And if we're playing against the best, we want to make sure we know what we're doing. So it never mattered. I'll tell you another one too. This is pretty funny. We were 0-3. We ended up going to Baltimore, playing the Ravens on Monday night. And so, of course, they do the whole thing, and then here comes Ray. Ray comes out here, does his little dance, right? Everybody's going crazy, and all I can remember was we just sitting there, just walking up and down the sideline, like, man, we better tear they back out. Go tear them apart. But you're aware of those things if you're an underdog and you just want to come in and do well. You do. So that's part of the deal. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the opposite view of that is what Chris Jones had a press conference today, and he kind of mentioned that they asked him what he thinks of the Jets. He goes, that's a good football team that we're playing against. They haven't won a game yet, but that's still a good football team, which I think obviously, it shows maturity on that point, but it also it's still, that's a hungry team we're playing this week. And I think, what do you think about that, Eric?
I just had a comment on that today because I saw that Adam Teicher printed that. Adam's a writer for the Kansas City newspaper out there. And my thing was, I don't care if the team hasn't won a game, they're still professional athletes on that team. And they're gonna perform like they're professional athletes. Whether they've won a game or not, they're still a professional team. And I remember vividly, we were undefeated one season. I don't think the Raiders had won a game that year, and we ended up losing to the Raiders. And they hadn't won a game, and we ended up giving them their only win that season. But that's because we overlooked them, didn't even care about who they were. We just figured that they were just a bad team. and that they didn't have a chance. And we went out there and we didn't lay an egg, but we just didn't play well. And they ended up getting the win. So it's the same thing going against this Jets team. Just because they haven't won a game doesn't mean they're going to go out there and not fight.
Yeah, I guess it goes into saying like you don't play down to the competition, right?
Exactly.
Like you don't think because they haven't won a game, they're not a professional football team. I mean, those guys on the other side get paid too, and especially it's going to be one of those like, okay, they know they're going against LeVeon, so the defense wants to do well, right? I'm sure the Gase is telling them all the time, like, look, he left the team, he quit on us, we didn't want him here, so we're gonna make him pay for it. All those little things that may be going on in the locker room. That's just part of it. And then, of course, LeVeon, I know on the other side, it's like, listen, you know what? He's going to be ready for this game. So we got to
feed me.
Huh?
Feed me.
Feed me. Yeah. He's probably opened up the door to Andy's office. Hey, man, I played against him, right? I played with him every 5 minutes. So, yeah, they're going – I'm looking for him to get at least 10 to 15 carries this game. Just for him, like you said, for him to get acclimated into the offense and show what he can actually bring to the table, what he can do. So this is going to be his big coming out party right now. So at this point on, it's like, okay, from what we going to see from him, So, is he, from the critics, is he washed up, right? Has he lost a step? Well, I'll tell you what, we're talking about the guy that had, probably the best yards per carry, a few years ago. We're going to see if he's back. So,
and that does lead us to our next chief concern, number 5, which is obviously this is Bell's revenge game, right? And do you think you Eric, you said feed me. Do you think he's actually going to the coaches and telling them this week, like, make sure to give me the ball, give me my touches this week?
Oh yeah, I guarantee you, and I guarantee you the coaches know that. But I still, he's still in their ear. How can I get more involved? Like, give me extra plays. I'm ready. And he's probably hasn't left his room, and he's studying this playbook as detailed as possible, just so he can get, just like Jake said, acclimated to this game, so he can put his imprint on this game and on this team.
Is that something coaches are going to be mindful of even before him coming to them? Do you think they're aware that he's a high profile guy? It's not just somebody coming to their team and saying, "Oh, I'm playing against my whole team." You think the coaches are mindful of that he's going to want to get his this week?
Definitely. I mean, of course, we're going to go out and play our offense. And if we just happen to be in this smooth rhythm of just unstoppable driving down the field, yeah, you might see LeVeon 20-plus carries or 20-plus plays involved in this game.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, just from a personal standpoint, when I left Philadelphia and I came to Kansas City, offensive coordinator came to me and said, "Hey, man, look, we playing Philadelphia. It's your old team." And he was like, "Look, we're going to try to get you some looks." And I was just like, "Hey, I'm ready." And so it's kind of funny. So every time I was out there and I'm blocking these guys, Dawkins and all these, the guys that I came in with, that I got drafted with, it's kind of crazy because you're going against their sideline, you turn their sideline, you're talking to their coach, you talk to the, your old teammates. So it's like a little circus that goes on, man. It's a game inside the game,
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because then of course they start messing with you. JD, you ain't fast. You done got bigger since you get out here, man. Put on a little extra weight. So it's going to be a lot of John going back and forth. But like you said, when you stay within the scheme of what it is you want to do, you just start at least try to feature him more, right? Than Clyde Hilaire. And this is my CEH. Hey, listen.
Hey, take a back seat.
Right. Hey, look, this man earned this. This is what we're gonna do for him this week. Now, if he does what he's supposed to do, then fine. Then we'll do the mix. But if he doesn't, be ready. So,
Yep.
And so our final chief concern is number 6 here is obviously I think we all know, I think we all think that the Chiefs are going to win this weekend, regardless of the spread, 21, 19, whatever it is. I think we all can agree that they are going to win. But what is something that you are looking for most when watching this game? Eric?
Me, just more consistency offensively and defensively. I think our defense is starting to gel a bit sooner this year than they did last year. And making more plays. I love that Sorensen has gotten in rhythm. His last 2 games have been really big for him. But just seeing how the defense is coming together so well and playing together, and just the fits with LeVeon and everybody else, and hopefully we get Sammy Watkins back to solidify this offense. But other than that, I'm happy with where we're at. Like I said, even with the Raiders game, that's just one loss in the season. I'm still happy with that. We only got this one loss on our record. I think we have a really good team. We got the best player in the NFL, and so far, best coaching staff in the NFL, and our schedule doesn't look that tough to finish off with. So I cannot see us not representing in the Super Bowl. So,
Jason.
Yeah, so mine is the same thing. It's going to be offensively. It's going to be the fit, the chemistry, right, that you have with LeVeon, especially right now at this point. You got an extra weapon that's coming in. So is he going to fit into what the Chiefs do, right? Because we know offensively they've been tremendous over the past couple of years, and so it's always a question. And I think it's going to help him out a lot because now he's not, I want to say, the quote guy, right? He knows he's like Patrick's there. He's he knows how to play within that scheme, and we're going to find that out. Defensive wise, it's just like you said, maintain it. And I feel like they've defense, they've been kind of overlooked a little bit, right? Because offense has always overshadowed the defense. But I think now this is like the defense is starting to get a little bit more of that, their reputation and a little bit more respect for what they do. And if they just continue to do that, like when you sit there and you say Patrick has a bad game, right? What is the defense going to do? And so they stepped up, man, the past couple of weeks, and that's what you want to be able to see. I think they're ranked, fourth right now in defense in the entire league? That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's funny. It's funny hearing your guys on these kind of games, because when you watch these shows, they're always, the Jets Chiefs out. Yeah, we don't think about that game. It's like, but you guys, I'm talking to you guys. You guys are X's and O guys. So hearing what you have to say when watching these games that are going to be cakewalks, you're still looking at specific things here, which is consistency with the offense, and I guess the gelling of Le'Veon starting to transition over. So we'll be looking for those things. All right. So our final segment of the show is our Chiefs Kingdom Concern segment, where we look at some of the Chiefs Kingdom hot takes on Twitter and get each of you to respond to one of them. So, Jason, our first one from Chiefs Kingdom is for you. It comes from a reply tweet to NFL Network's James Palmer's original tweet, which said Patrick Mahomes had a conversation with Tyrann Mathieu before speaking with the media. He told Mathieu young Patrick would have tried to force some throws and maybe throw a bad interception. He's learned that when the defense is playing well and throws aren't there, don't force anything. The reply tweet, there's one you're replying to, is from @RyanMcChesney1. And he said, so he's turning into Alex Smith. Jason, what is your response to that tweet?
So let me say this. Don't ever use Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes in the same sentence, okay, in comparison, all right? Nothing against Alex Smith, but this is nowhere near Patrick Mahomes turned into Alex Smith. If anything, what you're looking at is that type of maturity. It is that type of growth that he's realizing, look, I could win games with my arm all the time, but now what I'm really understanding is I don't necessarily have to. I don't have to force these things, right? Because like I was looking these past 2 weeks, he's realizing now that he can rely on his defense. The defense is out there, and he could kind of sit back and relax. That's a wonderful place you want to be as a quarterback and as an offense. So that's maturity on this part. That's growth. And so when you're talking to the other captain, right, Honey Badger, Tyrone, you're like, look, I know you're gonna have these guys ready. So anytime that we're not hitting on all cylinders like we should, I know you got my back. And I know he's sitting there like, look, we got you. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do, force these throws. Don't put us in a position or predicament where all of a sudden it's hurting us. And so you have to have that conversation, especially with the two leaders, right, on offense and defense, about what it is and what's the vision about how you want to take the team. And so I think that's it, more so than anything else. That is it's maturity. But yeah, Alex Smith, do not use Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes in the same sentence ever again.
No, I agree.
And I'm sure, as far as Mahomes goes, I'm sure he's loving the fact that defense is playing up right now because, going back to his college days, he's never really played with with a defense. I mean, Texas Tech doesn't. I mean, they have 11 guys out there. But that defense, I don't know what the scheme is in Texas Tech, or at least when he was there. But I mean, that's just Big 12 football. It's just touchdowns. There's no really stops. But thanks, Jason. Okay, so Eric closes out here with our final Chiefs Kingdom concern, which comes from @Chuck_DC, who tweeted, "I still think Hardman will be great in KC, but we missed out on DK Metcalf. Absolute stud. #Chiefs Kingdom." Eric, what is your response to that concern made by Chuck?
I'm proud of who we have right now, and I don't. Mecole Hardman is a great player. He's a receiver, / return guy, so special teams. He's a great player for what we need, and take nothing from anybody else. I feel like we can bring in anybody right now, and they're going to fit into this offense with what Patrick brings as a quarterback. He's going to make everybody better. He's almost like the LeBron of the NBA. He's going to make you a better player. All you have to do is do your job. Don't be concerned when the ball's coming. It's going to come. Just be prepared when it gets there. And you're going to fit right into what we're doing. Just buy into it. Buy into what we are. And you're going to be a great player. And I feel like Mecole has done that. And he's what we need. I forget the name that you brought up with the other guy that they said we should have gotten.
DK Metcalf.
DK. Great player, but still, does he make us that much better? I don't know that. We only have one ball. And I know right now, our first player we look to now is Kelsey. And after that, Tyreek Hill is a go-getter. And Sammy Watkins is also another great playmaker. So Metcalf's going to have to find his way to become something that I saw him in college and he did a great job. But for what we have right now with our offense, Kelsey's number one, and I don't think he's going to outplay Kelsey. To me, Tyreek Hill is number two. So he's got to find his way into this offense one way or another. And I just like the fits that we have right now to where we're going. Right now, it just all seems what we need is right what we have.
Yeah, and I think with Watkins' injury right now, I think it's kind of helping Mecole grow when you say.
It is. Mecole's a good player. He's fast, and speed kills a lot. So it opens up a lot. And that's the thing that, especially with Tyreek Hill, is he adds so much pressure on your safeties to open up the offense. So that defense is stretched. And so anything underneath, Watkins was always there. Kelsey's always there. Whoever else is lined up in that slot is always there. The running back coming out the backfield is going to have room to run because Tyreek Hill is stretching that defense so far out. So having that type of speed with two guys out there, but that being a big part of our offense is wanting to take those chunks is kind of what took away from us those 2 weeks against the Patriots and the Raiders. So I noticed we dialed it down a little bit, and we're now looking to take those chunks, and we're taking what the defense is giving us now. And so you're not having a lot of those big plays that we've had over the years, but we still get victories.
Actually, one question I wanted to ask you, Jason. Last week, we talked about a little bit of the offensive woes. Was the number 2 tight end Kaiser, who the only 2 plays that I can think of him this year is when in the Oakland game was like 3rd and 18 where Mahomes scrambled right, and then he found him in the middle of the field. He dropped it, and then this past Sunday when he fumbled the ball, and the offense looked like it was starting to get things going, and he fumbled the ball. As the number 2 tight end, when stuff like that happens, I mean, when you get your opportunity, right? Because I think Ricky Seals-Jones has been out, so Kaiser's got more opportunity. As a number 2 tight end, when your name is called, I mean, you kind of have to capitalize in those situations. Obviously, I mean, what would be your advice to Kaiser? And I guess after, a fumble like that and his limited playing time.
Well, I'll say this, especially in the passing game. When you have an opportunity, you got to make the best of it. I mean, you really do, because you never know when the ball's going to come to you again. That's why every time the ball was thrown to me, I try to catch it with my arm, my legs, and everything. But Kaiser, man, I'll say this, man. He had the fumble. He gave up 2 sacks. You see, what else was it? So I mean, when I'm looking at that play, and I hope, and this was part of like the whole scheme of like what they put in for the tight end to stay in block. You're putting him in a predicament if he's not strong enough to stand up there to block for Patrick Mahomes. He gave him 2 sacks. 2 sacks was on him. That's tough because then, like you said, hey, You're not doing your job. You're not seeing this. So you're not even thinking about just getting looks. So you better hope that they ain't, taking your cleats out your locker and giving it to somebody else. So, it was really kind of disappointed to see that, but you have to take advantage of your opportunities when you have it. So hopefully he's seeing this and he's going to get it and righten the ship from this point on. And if not, man, it's just, man, that's tough. It was a tough game for him. Tough game for him.
All right, guys. Well, I think we got out of that pretty painlessly. We'll see you guys next week where we recap the Jets matchup and talk about our upcoming game against the Carolina Panthers. If anyone in hashtag Chiefs Kingdom has any Chief concerns for these two legends, please tweet at us at @ConcernsChief, and please subscribe and follow Chief Concerns on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thanks a lot, guys.